It's inevitable that the one at the top of the world must fall back down to the ground at some point. Hero, villain, protagonist, antagonist, mentor, it don't matter who it is. What comes up, gotta come down eventually. Jujutsu Kaisen and My Hero Academia do this trope while also subverting it at the same time, which is such a creative way to refresh this idea of letting the strongest rest in order to pass the torch. A kinda sorta wise man once said death is what completes a person, and the strongest must always fall. Satoru Gojo's whole thing is literally being the strongest. So how do you take that monstrous pillar of protection out of the story? Simple. Lock him up. They got Gojo serving 3 to 6 in a prison realm. And the only reason they got him in the first place was through his compassion. Locking him away instead of booming him immediately was such a good way to strip any sense of hope and security from the Shibuya arc. Gojo was literally surfing on these niggas, playing with them at the beginning of the arc. And then as soon as he's sealed, everybody dies. JJK really loves its stakes, dog. And I kinda respect it for that. Although, I ain't gonna lie, this series be doing too much sometimes. Every gotta die? Everybody gotta die? Hello? My Hero Academia did something really interesting with All Might too. And not gonna lie, I kinda hated it before reframing how I look at it. I was so 1,000,000% dead set on the take that All Might should have died after his All for One fight in season 3, because it felt like he wasn't doing anything after that. But that's low-key the point. First of all, All Might dying would have been the most expected shit ever. Him living at all is a subversion of this trope. Second of all, this man is very different after he loses One for All completely. He's not the symbol of peace anymore. He lost his swag, and that's okay. All Might put his wholehearted faith in those who are next up, and you can low-key even see it before he loses One for All. The final arc also actually has him get active again with his Stark Tech suit, and the fact that his armor contains the quirks of all of his students is genuinely beautiful, dog. This is a physical representation of how much he believes in the next generation, and he still gets the box too. He looked clean as hell too. I never expected him to get a blacked out look like this, but it's tough as hell. And he got a cape now. I guess his Silver Age fit out a cape too, but then he dropped that, and then brought it back, and then dropped it again. Or maybe they brought it back on some nostalgia shit. Not gonna lie, I'm the opposite of Edna Mode, dog. Give me all the capes in the known universe, bruh. I'm sacrificing practicality for swag any day of the week. Just avoid planes, helicopters, fast-moving objects, spinning fan-like blades, your own shoes, and little critters, and you'll be straight. Think about the most practical super suit you can think of, and then thinking about the sauciest super suit you can think of. One of them got a cape on. I'm not gonna lie, one of them got a cape on. All Might finally found a way to smile again after all the insane fuckery he's been through, and after losing what made him All Might in the first place. They really only call him All Might after he loses his quirk on some legacy timing. Like, I feel like it wouldn't even sound right if they called him Toshinori, or if they called him Mr. Yagi. None of that sounds right. That is All Might, through and through. And also, low-key, sickly All Might looks cooler than big body All Might. I'm not gonna lie. That with the hair and the lip, that be looking clean. And that's why, like, armored All Might is literally, what if sickly All Might was like hard body All Might? But the fact that he's smiling so big and hard with this color palette that's like damn near the opposite of what he had on before with all the bright colors is kind of neat. It's like a paradoxical design choice. Big smile with dark and brooding looking colors. I feel like I said this in my last My Hero video, but All Might is probably one of my favorite Superman archetype characters because of how unsuper he really is, while also being the literal physical embodiment of hope, laughter, peace, and joy. This nigga dead might be Joy Boy. Gojo actually embodies a lot of that too though. I rarely ever see either of these two not smiling. Gojo's just way cockier than All Might, and cooler, and he got more swag, and he probably stronger too. Not that it's a competition, but I think Gojo got some sauce on him, bro. I ain't gonna lie, Gojo a sassy motherfucker. Gojo being so arrogant makes his defeat hit so much more though. All Might losing his quirk happened after winning a hard-fought battle against basically the main villain of the entire series. Meanwhile, Gojo got holed crazy in like the first act of the arc. But these two moments also mean two very different things for these characters. I know Gojo's not done for real, but he still has to fall again whenever he gets freed. It's literally the laws of nature, dude. And if Yuji's still alive in this sequel series, he probably gonna be cooked too. Not gonna lie. Granted, everybody been spoiled on JJK. Even Usher posted that shit. So like, look, I'm not saying I don't know what happens, but I don't have enough context to really talk about that and really give a insightful, you feel me, addition to this video. So just put a little pin in that. Put that in the vault. Although that probably would strengthen the topic of this video, I'm not waiting until 2033 to watch season 4 respectfully. Could I read the manga? Yeah. Will I read the manga? I might. I actually really like Gege's art style, so who knows. But regardless, you get the point. What comes up? Hidden Inventory and Shibuya as a back-to-back combo of arcs felt like they're meant to show just how much the entire world needs Gojo. Gojo had nobody above him, even when he was the same age of our main characters right now. He was always at the top. At most, he had an equal, and then he became nicer than him too. All Might got it out the mud with no quirk, but Gojo was literally born blessed. Granted, awakening Hollow Purple and learning how to keep Infinity on at all times was a huge moment of growth for him, but Toji was a demon and an anomaly. Also, yeah, All Might got it out the mud with no quirk, but also not really, because he got blessed with One for All, the literal greatest quirk of all time with godlike abilities. Hello? So maybe they're both blessed, I ain't gonna lie. But All Might definitely got it out the mud more than Gojo. Gojo's getting it out the mud was like already being at the top, bruh. But for the most part, nobody was hanging with Gojo already. So it was genuinely crazy seeing how everybody was without him in Shibuya. Nobody won that arc, dude. Everybody lost. Except him, I guess. When All Might fell, Deku cried his eyes out, because it's truly his turn now. But ultimately, the threat was neutralized. The motherfuckers could go home and recoup with a new vision of the future. Gojo fell, and niggas died, and lost. Bad. It's just really interesting seeing how these two series handle the same trope in such vastly different ways, while also being able to subvert the same one. Dragon Ball does a lot of things right that it typically don't get credit for, but I can't lie, they fumbled this trope a little bit with Goku passing the torch to Gohan. All roads were leading to Goku passing the torch to Gohan after he got boomed in the Cell Saga. The strongest fell once again, and then it was Gohan's turn, and then it wasn't Gohan's turn, it was Goku's turn again. I don't know, with Gohan, I like that he got to do what he actually wants out of this life, and do scholarly activities and start a family. He never had the same drive and passion for throwing hands the way his father did. It was always out of pure necessity in Gohan's case. But then when another universe-ending threat came, Goku ended up being the one to finish the job. And then Dragon Ball kept going, and Goku kept being the strongest. Beast Gohan feels like the most here damn ass concept ever, but I do like that we got Gohan and Piccolo in the focus of another Dragon Ball story. That was fantastic. One Piece did this trope pretty fantastically when Whitebeard fell at the climax of Marineford. This dude died standing on his 2 feet, back straight as hell, half his face missing. Hey, that's the only way you kill off a character literally known as the strongest man in the world. Now Shanks, your time is coming. The final saga is upon us, and you're like Luffy's biggest role model.
There's no way out of this one. You're done.
Blackbeard is in trajectory to do this diabolically. I really did used to hate on All Might surviving the whole story, but I guess there is something beautiful about an older type mentor character actually getting to grow old and see the seeds they planted turn into a forest. Although Naruto choosing to let Guy live made no sense. I'm sorry, context is important. That did nothing else after that either. And that should have been Lee's moment, but that's just me. Actually, Lee's Dreams and I have a whole video talking about that. Well, not the whole video, but there's a section of that video where we're talking about how Lee got done crazy. Free Rock Lee. I love this trope a lot, but it's easy to make it boring, so I really appreciate when motherfuckers get mad creative with it. Even outside of anime, the Spider-Verse movies adapted the death of Peter Parker so excellently. Similar to All Might and Gojo, the whole world was like, we just lost our literal GOAT, dog. We're genuinely fried now. And this wasn't just like regular Peter Parker Spider-Man. This was the perfect Peter Parker. Why was the perfect Peter Parker Aryan? I don't know, dog. But this wasn't just like your standard run-of-the-mill Spider-Man. This was like your greatest Spider-Man. This nigga done swept his whole city up simple. He know what he's doing. He's like that. Everybody loves it. So of course, when he gets packed up, everybody's like, yo, we're actually cooked. We're fried. But this time, the younger generation ended up inspiring the old gen in Miles' relationship with Peter B. I'm all over the place now, but this trope is absolute cinema. What I like about this trope also is that it doesn't just apply to like older mentor type characters. It literally applies to whoever's at the top. There will be an upset. Writing wise, it just makes sense. Now, what are we gonna do after the person at the top falls? That's what's really interesting to me. Are we gonna go the All Might route? You're still there in the background, still doing something, still getting to like be a part of the story? Or are we gonna go the Gojo route? But yeah, shout out this legendary trope and shout out you.
I can't feel my face right now, I'm burning up. I got this feeling that I won't come down, like got this feeling that I won't